Do you think Panama is just about the canal and tax havens? Think Panama is only known for its famous waterway? Everyone knows Panama for the engineering marvel. But what if I told you there's a tribal chief with actual royal powers, a hidden medical secret, and a place where you can see the sun rise on the Pacific and set on the Atlantic in the same day? You won't believe the shocking truths hiding in this Central American gem. Wait until you find out about the bizarre dating custom that could get you into trouble. 15. The Panama hat isn't from Panama. You heard right. This iconic straw hat, famous worldwide and closely associated with the canal's construction, actually originated in Ecuador. It sounds unbelievable, but the Panama hat gained its misleading name during the California gold rush in the mid-19th century. Thousands of prospectors passed through Panama on their way to California, and many purchased these finely woven hats there because they were lightweight and offered excellent sun protection. Later, President Theodore Roosevelt was photographed wearing one during his visit to the Panama Canal construction site in 1904, solidifying the misnomer globally. The truth is, Ecuadorian artisans have been crafting these toquilla straw hats for centuries, with some of the finest examples taking months to weave and fetching thousands of dollars. So while Panama might be the place where they became famous, the credit for their creation belongs entirely to Ecuador, a fact that still surprises many who assume the name tells the whole story. 14. It's illegal for foreigners to join political protests. Think you can join any local demonstration? Think again. Panama has a strikingly strict law. If you're a foreigner, participating in political activities or demonstrations is a serious offense that can lead to immediate detention and even deportation. Here's the scary part. This isn't some obscure, rarely enforced rule. Local authorities take it very seriously, especially during times of civil unrest or major protests, which can occur throughout the country and often disrupt public transport and daily life. While Panamanians have the right to express dissent, non-citizens are explicitly forbidden from engaging in such acts. This is a significant cultural and legal contrast to many Western nations where foreign residents might feel empowered to join public discourse. So, if you're visiting Panama, remember this unwritten law: observe, but never participate, or you could face extreme consequences, turning your vacation into a legal nightmare. This regulation underscores a nuanced approach to sovereignty and internal affairs, ensuring that political movements remain strictly within the purview of the nation's citizens. 13. Panama City has a rainforest within its limits. Sounds unbelievable, but it's true. Panama City isn't just skyscrapers and urban sprawl, it's the only capital city in the world that boasts a tropical rainforest within its municipal boundaries. We're talking about the Metropolitan Natural Park, a sprawling 232-hectare, about 573-acre oasis teeming with incredible biodiversity just minutes from the bustling financial district. This isn't a small city park with a few trees, it's a vital part of the extensive biological corridor that connects North and South America. You can find sloths, toucans, monkeys, and hundreds of other species living freely. Imagine stepping out of a high-rise office building and in less than 15 minutes being immersed in dense jungle trails, hearing the calls of exotic birds and the rustling of unseen creatures. This geographic surprise is a daily reality for residents, offering an unparalleled blend of urban convenience and wild nature, a stark contrast to any major metropolitan area in the US or Europe. It's a reminder of Panama's incredible ecological richness, often overshadowed by its famous canal. There's a tribe where men move into the wife's family home. You heard right. In many parts of the world, it's customary for the bride to move in with the groom's family or for couples to set up a new independent household. But among the Guna people of the autonomous Gunayala territory in Panama, their society is distinctly matrilineal. This means that after marriage, it's actually the husband who traditionally moves into his wife's family home. This practice really strengthens family bonds on the female side and ensures that women in Guna society hold influential social and economic roles. It's not just a symbolic gesture. Guna women often manage family finances and make pivotal decisions within the household and the community. This powerful social norm is a fascinating counterpoint to the patriarchal norms you'll find elsewhere, showcasing a unique and empowering gender dynamic that has been preserved for centuries within their self-governing territory, a true opposite world scenario for many Western visitors. A US senator used a stamp to decide the canal's location. Wait until you find out. The decision to build the Panama Canal over a proposed route in Nicaragua wasn't solely based on engineering or economic feasibility. Here's the funny part: a postage stamp actually played a crucial role. Back in the early 1900s, U.S. senators were torn between the two Central American nations. Philippe Bunau-Varilla, a French engineer and lobbyist who strongly advocated for the Panamanian route, sent every U.S. senator a Nicaraguan postage stamp depicting a smoking volcano, Momotombo. The subtle yet highly effective ploy worked. Panama, by contrast, had no active volcanoes posing such a direct threat, making it seem like the safer choice even though Panama itself isn't entirely free of seismic activity. This bizarre, almost comical historical quirk really shows how a seemingly minor detail, a simple stamp, could sway powerful political decisions and ultimately determine the course of global commerce and Panama's destiny. It was the first country outside the U.S. to sell Coca-Cola. Think Panama is just a recent economic player? Think again. Panama actually has a surprisingly deep connection to American consumer culture, dating back over a century. Coca-Cola, that quintessential American beverage, was first sold outside the United States in Panama, way back in 1906. This wasn't some slow, gradual expansion. Panama was chosen as a key international market shortly after its independence and the start of the canal's construction. This economic oddity highlights Panama's strategic importance and early integration into global commerce, long before many other nations. The presence of thousands of American workers and administrators for the canal created a ready market, making Panama a pioneer in the international distribution of American brands. It's a surprising fact that really showcases Panama's unique historical relationship with the United States far beyond just the canal. Over 25,000 workers died building the canal. Here's the scary part. While the Panama Canal is celebrated as an engineering marvel, the human cost was staggering, a dark secret buried beneath the monumental achievement. More than 25,000 workers perished during its construction, both during the French attempt, with around 20,000 deaths between 1881 and 1889, and the subsequent American effort, with over 5,000 deaths between 1904 and 1913. That's an average of over 500 lives lost for every single mile of the canal. The vast majority of these deaths weren't from construction accidents, though those were frequent, but from tropical diseases like yellow fever and malaria, carried by mosquitoes breeding in the region's swamps. Imagine working in extreme heat and humidity, facing torrential downpours that triggered deadly mudslides and constantly battling unseen killers that could claim dozens of lives a day. The stories of artificial limb makers clamoring for contracts and chief engineers importing metal coffins really underscore the brutal reality. This grim statistic paints a vivid, heartbreaking scene of the extreme challenges and sacrifices made, a far cry from the sanitized images we often see. It's a sobering reminder of the true price paid for this global shortcut. The Darién Gap is one of the world's most dangerous migration routes. You won't believe the challenges here. While Panama is known for its modern infrastructure like the canal, it also hosts one of the planet's most formidable and treacherous natural barriers, the Darién Gap. This 100-kilometer stretch of dense rainforest, steep mountains, and vast swamps separates Panama from Colombia, and is the only overland path connecting Central and South America. There is no road, no police force, and no formal infrastructure. For migrants, it's become an increasingly trafficked and incredibly deadly route to the United States. In 2023 alone, a record of over 520,000 migrants, including more than 100,000 children, crossed this perilous terrain. Here's the scary part. Beyond the natural dangers like venomous snakes, crocodiles, and landslides, migrants face criminal groups, extortion, sexual assault, and a severe lack of safe drinking water and food. UNICEF estimates that half the children crossing in early 2023 were under 5. It's an extreme geographic and practical surprise that highlights a stark humanitarian crisis often overlooked by the tourism brochures, a truly wild and lawless frontier where human resilience is pushed to its absolute limits against overwhelming odds. Pointing is done with the lips, not fingers. Sounds unbelievable, but it's a common social norm. Forget pointing with your index finger in many parts of Panama, especially outside of the major metropolitan areas, that's considered rude or even aggressive. Instead, Panamanians use their lips to indicate direction. To demonstrate, they simply make a subtle kissy face or purse their lips in the general direction they're trying to gesture towards. This unwritten social rule is a fascinating cultural taboo for Western tourists. Imagine asking for directions and receiving a series of subtle lip movements rather than a clear finger point. It's an opposite world scenario that highlights the nuances of nonverbal communication. If you try to explain something using only your hands, as one might do in North America, you'll quickly find it confusing and ineffective to the local ear. This unique etiquette rule reflects a more indirect and perhaps less confrontational communication style, deeply ingrained in daily life, and something that would definitely shock many first-time visitors expecting universal gestures. The sun rises on the Pacific and sets on the Atlantic. Wait until you find out this geographic quirk. Because of the unique S-shape of the Isthmus of Panama, its orientation means that from certain vantage points, particularly on the Pacific coast near Panama City, you can witness the sun rising over the Pacific Ocean. Then, later the same day, you can travel a relatively short distance, about 80 kilometers, to the Caribbean coast and watch the sun set over the Atlantic Ocean. This geographic surprise is almost counterintuitive to how most people perceive the Americas, where the Pacific is typically to the west and the Atlantic to the east. Panama's narrow landmass and its eastward curve allow for this incredible phenomenon, offering a truly unique daily experience. It's a practical surprise that underscores the country's pivotal location and its role as a natural bridge, allowing for a perspective of the world that few other places can offer. Imagine the breathtaking photographic opportunities and the sheer disbelief of experiencing both in a single day. The Guna people have one of the world's lowest rates of hypertension. You won't believe this hidden medical secret. The indigenous Guna people of Panama, especially those living on the Caribbean islands of the Gunayala Comarca, exhibit an extraordinary health phenomenon, remarkably low rates of high blood pressure and heart disease, way below global averages. Here's the specific number. Studies have shown their hypertension rates can be as low as 2%, compared to over 30% in many Western populations. This economic oddity in terms of healthcare is largely attributed to their traditional diet, which is rich in fresh seafood, plant-based foods, and crucially, a high consumption of natural cacao. And this isn't your processed chocolate bar. We're talking about pure, unrefined cacao, consumed daily as a beverage. This incredible health advantage, combined with an active lifestyle deeply connected to their environment, offers fascinating insights into indigenous wellness practices. It's a powerful testament to the impact of traditional diets and natural living, a stark contrast to the health challenges faced by more industrialized societies, and a secret that scientists are still actively studying to unlock its full potential for modern medicine. Panama has no military, you heard right. In a region often marked by political instability and military coups, Panama stands out as a true anomaly. It abolished its standing army in 1990 after the U.S. invasion, and formally enshrined this prohibition in its constitution in 1994. This extreme law makes Panama one of only a handful of countries globally to operate without a permanent military force. Instead, it maintains a public forces, which includes the National Police, National Border Service, also known as Senafront, and National Air and Naval Service, or SENAN, primarily for law enforcement, border protection, and emergency response. This unique historical quirk fundamentally reshaped Panama's political landscape, diverting significant national resources from military spending to public services and infrastructure. Imagine a country where the primary armed force is explicitly civilian in nature, focusing on internal security rather than external defense. It's a surprising contrast to the strong military presences common across Latin America and highlights a deliberate national choice towards peace and civilian governance, a truly counterintuitive social norm in the geopolitical arena. You can swim between continents. Wait until you find out. While the Panama Canal connects two oceans, Panama itself is the only place on Earth where you can technically swim from North America to South America, or vice versa, without leaving the landmass. This geographic and practical surprise is due to the incredibly narrow land bridge formed by the Isthmus of Panama, specifically within the infamous Darién Gap region. Here's the specific scenario. At certain points, the land strip is so narrow that the continental divide, the mountain range that runs through the Americas, is just a few kilometers wide. While not an official continental swim in an oceanic sense, you could, theoretically, wade through a shallow river that briefly crosses the divide, stepping from one continent to the other. This unique position, where two massive landmasses are so intimately connected, highlights Panama's unparalleled geological significance and its role as a biodiversity hotspot, acting as a crucial corridor for species migration. It's a bizarre and mind-bending fact that truly puts Panama's unique geography into perspective, making you wonder what other secrets this narrow strip of land holds. Panama has a witchcraft phenomenon blamed for illness. Here's the scary part. In many rural areas of Panama, especially among indigenous communities and in traditional villages, there's a deeply held belief in something called Oya, or the evil eye, and also apasmo, or el aire. These are phenomena that people attribute to supernatural causes, and they can supposedly lead to severe illness or even death. For a lot of folks, this isn't just folklore, it's actually a lived reality. So, Oya is believed to happen when someone gives too much attention or a really strong compliment to a person, a baby, or even an animal or plant. And then, mysteriously, that person or thing gets sick, or even dies. To protect against this, it's common to see newborns and animals adorned with red fabric or jewelry. Now, apasmo or el aire is the belief that moving quickly from a hot environment to a cold one, or the other way around, like stepping out of a hothouse into cold rain, or opening a freezer when you're sweating, can cause sudden debilitating sickness, or even a stroke. People will seriously give you stern warnings like, don't walk barefoot, or never open the fridge if you're sweating. Because of these deep-seated beliefs, when someone falls ill, the first stop often isn't the doctor, but rather a traditional healer or bruja. That's a witch, but not in the negative Western sense. For Western tourists, this cultural contrast can be pretty shocking, since medical science is usually the go-to. All of this really paints a vivid picture of a society where ancient beliefs still have a powerful influence over daily life, health, and well-being, shaping everything from daily routines to how people respond in emergencies. Panama City has the first metro system in Central America. You won't believe this surprising infrastructure achievement. While Panama is often associated with developing world challenges, Panama City actually boasts a cutting-edge urban transport system that puts it ahead of most of its regional neighbors. The Panama Metro, which opened in 2014, was the very first subway system in all of Central America. And this wasn't just a small addition. It was a massive, multi-billion-dollar project aimed at fixing the city's notorious traffic jams and providing efficient, modern public transport for its rapidly growing population. This economic oddity and geographic surprise really highlights Panama's forward-thinking approach to infrastructure and its role as a regional leader. Just think about the sheer scale of digging underground tunnels through a tropical environment, right beneath busy city streets and so close to the canal. It was a huge engineering feat. It's a testament to the nation's investment in its future, and it stands in sharp contrast to the common perception of infrastructure problems in many developing countries. For a Western tourist, stepping onto a sleek, air-conditioned subway train in Panama City honestly feels like being in a major global capital. And it's a pretty striking contradiction to any preconceived notions about the country. It's kind of the ultimate insider knowledge that locals take pride in, and it really represents a major leap in urban development and daily life convenience. So we've just discovered Panama's most bizarre and shocking secrets, from its unique geography to its surprising social norms and incredible historical quirks. Which one shocked you the most? Have you ever experienced any of these Panamanian oddities yourself? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more amazing facts about the world's most surprising places.